We get the government we deserve. Surrounded by information, we entertain ourselves with toys and sound bites. The answer to the most deadly question of our time isn't hidden. The evidence is all around us. During the promotional campaign for my first book on Islam, Tea with Terrorists, I sent every major media outlet and spokesperson a press kit. The opening paragraph asked the following questions. Don't you suppose that the Chechen Muslims who laid siege to the Moscow theater shared something with those who bombed the Bali nightclub and the Kenyan hotel? Don't you think there might be a connection between the sniper Muhammad and the prophet Muhammad? Could the suicide bombers in Israel have the same spiritual leader as the suicide bombers of 9/11? Why have Islamic terrorists in Iraq killed more Americans than the Republican Guard? Where do you suppose these Muslim militants get their marching orders? Might Al-Qaeda, Jamaat Islamiyah, Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, and the Muslim Brotherhood, and the Taliban be following the same prophet? Later that same week, Osama bin Laden issued a press release of his own. In it, he answered my questions. He said the boys who attacked the nightclub, theater, and hotel, as well as the suicide bombers in America and Israel, were, and quote, good Muslims, zealous Islamic fighters following Muhammad's example, unquote. Bin Laden was telling us who the terrorists really are and why they kill, yet we missed the message. Not a single media outlet tied these things together. Everyone went about their business, obfuscating reality. They called the Muslims who murdered us radicals, militants, insurgents, extremists, or simply terrorists. Why are we so afraid to speak the truth? Here's a clue. On top of one of my press releases, a South Palm Beach radio host wrote this note in her prettiest handwriting. Quote, I wouldn't promote your version of Islam even if I was an evangelical Christian on my deathbed. Unquote. Those who are paid to keep us informed have put their popularity and financial well-being ahead of saving lives. And while this is symptomatic of why we are ignorant, I don't have a, quote, version of Islam. The only Islam I know is the one found in the Quran, the one preached by the imams and sheikhs, the one promoted in the Islamic media, the one presented by the first Muslim scholars, Ibn Ishaq and Al-Tabari, the one recorded in the hadith collections of Al-Bukhari and Muslim, the one Muhammad himself lived and taught, the one terrorists like Osama bin Laden practice. It isn't my version of Islam, it's theirs. How do you suppose Islam could be any different than the religions lived by its sole prophet, Muhammad? How could it differ from the doctrine espoused by its deity, Allah? If Islam's prophet and God got Islam wrong, who, pray tell, has it right? I have no interest in interpreting Islam. I simply want to expose it. I'm a reporter doing the job the media should have done, and I have a singular motivation. I want to save Muslims from Islam, and thereby save Christians and Jews from Muslims. Yes, I know, religions are supposed to be good. Most religious prophets are fine fellows, not terrorists, so all of this is a little hard to swallow. But one was a terrorist. Muhammad assassinated more journalists than any modern militant. He financed his religion entirely through piracy and the slave trade. This prophet was a genocidal maniac. Worse still, his God condoned terrorism, piracy, plunder, racism, genocide, deception, and assassination. Allah ordered his followers to kill us, and they did. The evidence screams out from the pages of the Quran, the hadith collections of Al-Tabari, Ibn Ishaq, Al-Bukhari, and Muslim. The case against Islam is a lay-down hand. The paper trail, their scripture, points directly to Islam's lone prophet. The blood evidence, both fresh and ancient, leads directly to Muhammad. We even have confessions, thousands of them. In the Quran, Allah commands Muslims to wipe the infidels out to the last. Allah isn't the least bit ambiguous. In the Hadith, Muslim says, "Kill any Jew who falls under your control. Kill them, for he who kills them will get a great reward." Today, terrorists are simply following their religion as it was originally conceived. Confronted with the evidence, one has to commit intellectual suicide to avoid seeing Islam as complicit in terror. The truth is obvious. The terrorists haven't corrupted their religion. Islam has corrupted them. The murderers are following their prophet's example. And while most Muslims aren't terrorists, the really good ones are. They haven't corrupted Islam any more than the SS corrupted Nazism or the kamikazes corrupted the culture of Imperial Japan. We have been fighting a war against the symptoms, not the source. The Nation of Islam has been at war with everyone, including itself, for 1,400 years. You'll see why Muslims celebrate their victories, no matter how many innocents perish. You'll see why their state-controlled media promotes terror. You'll know why their state-controlled schools teach hate. It will become evident why imams encourage martyrdom and jihad. And if all that were not bad enough, consider this. Our oil money pays for it all.